Hi, my name's Kathy Barker from Software Solutions, and I'd like to, in this video, look at Microsoft Teams. And I'd like to look at the meetings component of Microsoft Teams. There's a lot more to Microsoft Teams than people realize, but the meeting component is probably one of the most important. Now, in an earlier video, I looked at the sort of aspects that were important if you were attending a meeting. But what if you're in the lucky position of actually having to organize a meeting? As a meeting organizer, there's a few things we need to know. Now, the quickest way to make a meeting is, if you're sitting in the calendar, is just to click a certain date. You can use the Meet Now if you want to have an instant meeting, or you can choose New Meeting, there's even a drop down, and you can schedule a meeting or a webinar or a town hall meeting at a later date. But I'm just going to go for the keep it simple approach and just click somewhere on my calendar. This brings up the following new meeting window. Okay, so we're in the details section of the new meeting. Let's give this meeting a title. Now let's choose some people to attend. Now, once you've chosen those people who are required at the meeting, and that's these participants here, there are some people that are optional. They don't have to attend, but it'd be nice if they could make it. So we've got this optional button here, and I'm just going to choose whomever I want to be optional. Then what we choose is a date and a time for the meeting to start and end. And let's say it's just going to be an hour. It can be an all-day event, but in this case it's just a 1-hour meeting. To improve the success of people being able to attend, I would suggest that you go to the Scheduling Assistant tab at the top. If the members that are required or optional are actually members of your organisation, then Microsoft Teams has the ability to check their diaries and tell you if everybody is available or not on that particular day and time. Now, I've specifically gone for a date and a time that I know everybody will be available, and that's what I'm saying. But if they weren't, I could pick up this panel here, move it to the right, move it to the left, and change the date and the time of the meeting. I can even enlarge the meeting duration or reduce the meeting duration. Or I could interact with these particular fields at the top here. But now that I know that everybody is available on that date and time, I can go back to the Details tab. Now, this meeting may be repetitive. If that's the case, then you've got a reoccurring option here. If, for example, I have a weekly staff member meeting and it's every Thursday, I can ask Microsoft Teams to put this in the calendar every Thursday, once a week, until a certain end date. But I'll go cancel. You can add a certain channel also, if you wish, to this particular meeting. And if it's not an online meeting, you can actually add a physical location, or maybe it's both, so you can add a physical location and keep the option online meeting. Then I suggest you put any details regarding the meeting. But I just want to have a wee nosy over the right hand side here. I'm seeing what we call meeting options, and that's because this button has been clicked. If I click it, it hides the options, and if I click it, it shows the options. Some of you who have already attended Microsoft Teams online meetings will notice that sometimes when you go to join the meeting, you have to wait in the lobby until the meeting organizer or co-organizers actually let you in. Instead of making people wait in the lobby, I'll often hit this drop down and say, look, the people who have been invited can actually bypass the lobby and come straight into the meeting. So I think that's a really handy thing. Nowadays, you can actually record the meeting as well, but I would check with all the required and optional participants that they are all okay, that the meeting will be recorded for reasons of privacy. If I click the More Options button, this little window pops up. Again, we have the reiteration of who can bypass the lobby, and there's some dialing in options here as well. But often what I'd suggest is that you choose a co-organizer. A co-organizer is able to help the meeting organizer do things like end the meeting, do things like add extra participants and stuff like that. So the co-organizer's got some power. And so I'm going to ask SSPC5 to actually assist me with co-organizing this meeting. Now, when you run a meeting, you can decide if everybody can present or not. Some meetings, there's no need for everyone to present, it's just one or two presenters. So here you get to choose. specific people, or only the organisers and the co-organisers can actually present. Again, you can decide whether people can use their microphone or not. So I might say actually attendees cannot use their microphones, or whether they can use their cameras. Attendees cannot use their cameras. These are the sorts of things you can do when you create a meeting. You can decide if the meeting's to be recorded or not, and we mentioned that earlier. And the chat panel that appears on the right-hand side where people are able to ask questions or make points, you can actually, as a meeting organiser, say that you want that turned off. Or you can say that you want it turned on, but in the meeting only. One of the things you may not realise is when you create a meeting appointment, people are actually able to click it and chat before the meeting. And so you may want to decide that they can only chat during the meeting. I might decide to turn it off. Whether you allow people to react or not, whether they can send a heart or whether they can send a happy face or applause, you may decide you don't want those sort of reactions and so you're going to turn them off. So this is a very much a one-way street meeting where I'm allowing very little interaction, in fact none, from my audience. They can't chat, they can't react, they can't use their camera, they can't use their microphone. But think about these sorts of things when you're creating a meeting. And I'll click Save. Now across the top here we also have some options. When you plan a meeting, it typically shows that you are busy in your calendar, and on your status, which is your little profile picture, there'll be a red circle because you're busy. But you might decide, well, actually, when I run this meeting, can you say that I'm still available and free, or I'm tentatively, or I'm working elsewhere, or I'm out of the office. So you have different ways that you can show yourself in the calendar. I'm just going to say I'm busy. You've also got categories which are pulled through from Microsoft Outlook, and you've also got a time zone. So that time zone is really important. If you are extending the invite to people who are in a different time zone and you're saying that the meeting is starting at 10, they need to know that it's starting at 10 a.m. in my time zone and what that means to them in their time zone. They may have to get up early or stay up late in order to be able to attend the meeting. Response options is also a good one. Allow forwarding. This has caught me out a few times. I've actually extended an invite to a number of people to attend a meeting. They have decided that somebody else should come to the meeting also, and they've forwarded that invite to somebody else, and then that person is able to actually attend the meeting as well. And I've been shocked that that person is in attendance because I don't recall inviting them. So think about whether you want to allow the forwarding of the invite and whether you actually want to request responses. So some meeting invites, you notice that you don't have to say accept, decline or tentative. You don't have to send a response, but you can say that you want to request a response. I want to know who's going to accept, who's going to decline, so I've got an idea of the numbers. It's those sorts of things. And here you're able to create a registration form. If it's a webinar or some sort of event where you actually want them to register and say what their first name, their last name, their mobile number is, who their organisation is, things like that, you can actually create a registration form for everybody who attends this particular meeting. Let's have a look. Now this rather unfriendly panel appears at the top. I'm just going to click the second link. And here we have a webinar registration. I'll then upload an image. So I've chosen this picture and I can move the focus point up or down. I can even zoom in or zoom out, but I'm just going to go done. Once you've uploaded an image, you can put the details about the event. So this is a staff get together, for example. There's the date and the time that I chose earlier and the time zone. Here I would say all staff are encouraged to attend. I can add a speaker and I might say myself. In the bio, I might just paste a LinkedIn account. I can add a second speaker if I wish, or just delete. Over here, I can set a maximum number of people to my event. So I might say 20. I'm going to request that they fill in their first name, their last name, and their email in order to register for this event. But I can add other fields. Other fields include these, or I can create my own custom question. I might ask them for input, and I might ask them for their mobile phone. And it's required, so it'll have a little red asterisk. I might ask them for another field, and it's a customized question, and it's a choice. My question might be, the options are yes, add an option, no, no, and it's required. So I'm going to save my form, which allows me to also preview it. So that's what my form looks like. So it's got an image at the top, here's the details, here's my privacy statement, and here's my questions. I could take a copy of the link. I could then close the form and send. But I can use the link in other places as well. So I have a new email. I want to put a link that says click to register. I'll select the text. I'll press Ctrl K, which is a hyperlink, and I'll paste the link into the address, and OK. And so now I've created a link that they can click to register. Now let's say I go to my calendar and I click on the meeting. Here is where I said that you can chat with participants prior to the meeting. It's also where you can take a copy or a link to the meeting and put in an email or whatever other document you wish. You can edit the meeting by clicking here, and you can join the meeting. Now let's say I've decided actually I'd like to add some agenda items to the meeting, and then when the meeting actually transpires, I want to be able to keep meeting minutes and even add follow-up tasks. So I'm going to click on this meeting and I'm going to click on edit. What you'll find further down here is the ability to add an agenda that others can edit. Here is my agenda, and I'm just going to put community insights. So there's my agenda. I've added an agenda which people can look at when they actually go and look at the meeting invite. I can also see this when the meeting actually transpires. Let me just go close. If I then find the meeting and join the meeting and join now, what you'll find is the meeting notes will automatically appear on the right hand side. So this is very handy if you want to create an agenda prior to the meeting, and then you can start typing any meeting notes and add any tasks that are a result of the meeting, any action items. I'll just leave. If there's been a change to the date and or the time of the event, you can edit the event and you can change the date and time in here, and that will send an update to everybody. Let's say I change it till 10 o'clock and send an update. So now the meeting's at 10 o'clock. But another way to update a meeting is to simply drag it to a different day or a different time. So I'm going to drag it now to 9 o'clock the next day. It tells me that everyone is available, and so I can just send an update to everybody that the meeting is moved. If you need to cancel the meeting, just double click the meeting and you have the option to actually cancel the meeting in the top corner here. You also have the option to track who has accepted and who has declined at any point in time your meeting invite. I'm just going to close. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like or subscribe so that I know that the content I'm creating is resonating for you. Please let me know if you have anything that you would like me to create videos for. Please check out my other videos, channels and playlists. My name's Kathy Barker from Software Solutions. Take care, ka kite.